friends, it's Sarah, the owner and maker behind Multifarious Nature. Thank you so much for joining me today. If you are a new viewer, welcome. And if you're a returning viewer, a big welcome back. Welcome to week 4 and the final week of my Multifarious Nature Vlogmas. And it is a jam-packed video. We're going to try to not make it super long. I'm going to try to not have the lighting crazy, but as we know, it's 5:00 p.m. here in Michigan, and it's dark. The sun has gone down, and I'm doing the best I can. So I am recording this ahead of time per usual. It is Thursday, the 21st, but I did open my Multifarious Nature Advent for this coming Sunday so you guys can see it. And of course, I will be posting this on Sunday, so I hopefully won't ruin it for anyone. However, if you have not opened your Multifarious Nature Advent and you are watching this video, definitely hang out, wait until you open your Advent. I do not want to ruin the fun for anyone. So I highly recommend you find a cozy cup of coffee or a beverage of choice. I've got this like hot cocoa. It's like a healthy hot cocoa and mixed with decaf coffee because I just needed some coffee in my life today. I've been drinking mushroom coffee, but I did decide to have some decaf just because I love the flavor of coffee. So there we have it. We're going to start with shop update. So shop update for Multifarious Nature is there's nothing new in the shop. I am not dyeing up for the rest of the year. I decided to take time off from dyeing. Just many are doing this, and I feel, especially after my past couple weeks, I really need to just take some time to reflect, take some time to relax, and take some time to do self-care, and not just like physically but mentally. So for me, I love dyeing yarn. It is something I enjoy so much, but I also have a lot of responsibilities outside of that I need to do, and when I pile it all on, it becomes a bit much. So in trying to help myself here, we're not going to be dyeing up for the rest of the year. However, there are some wonderful colors still in stock in the shop. You can see them behind me. There are some sweater quantities, so depending on the color you're looking for, definitely check that out in the shop, and yeah, get them before they're gone. And I'm really excited, you guys, to show you this Advent colorway for this weekend. It is just so much fun, and every color was unique, every color was different, every color was super layered, and I love that way if you do decide to make socks, you're going to have a very unique, each color will be very unique, and you could give them as gifts, you could use them all as your own. I mean, there's just so many possibilities here. So without further ado, we're going to start with the Multifarious Nature Advent for week 4. So this is for this coming Sunday, the 24th, which is Christmas Eve. So I'm really excited, you guys. I hope you are too. So this is the colorway. So don't want to ruin it for anyone. If you do not want to ruin the surprise, definitely look away. This colorway is called Vintage Christmas Sock Set, and here you go. I absolutely love it. I love all the colors. I'm a little partial because I did dye them and they did turn out the way I wanted them to. But this one is that vintage Christmas colorway. This has, I just think of between the Christmas tree. So really this was inspired by one of the last photo montages that I have as examples. There's quite a few colors I pulled it from, but there was one photo in particular that I really focused on quite a bit, and it is this beautiful photo of this woman in a beautiful gown that resembles this beautiful peachy, soft pink color. It's going to get a little blasted out, but it's like a soft peachy pink, very, very soft, and she's wearing this stunning gown, and then she's decorating this wonderfully vintage Christmas tree. The whole image has this reminiscence of times gone by when you decorate your Christmas tree with beautiful glass ornaments, and this is this colorway entirely inspired by that. I feel like there's so much that from that photo that just is in this colorway, We have all kinds of fun speckling going on. We've got some teals. I've got some dark browns in here. We have some fun orange going on. I really tried to bring all kinds of fun colors from that photo, and this is that, you guys. I mean, this white cream color is definitely, that's kind of the bare part of the yarn, and I use that as, like, when you're looking at that Christmas tree, there's wonderful like tinsel going on, and this is that photo in a colorway. And I hope you are loving it as much as I am. I am very excited about knitting with this one. I love all of these colorways, and I have only been knitting with the first one, but I do look forward to knitting with all of these in the coming year here. And yeah, this one definitely holds another special place in my heart, and I hope you love it too. So this is the Vintage Christmas sock set, and this is the final sock set for the Multifarious Nature Advent. So I hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope you love it as much as I do. I really worked very hard on it, and it turned out the way I wanted it to, and there was so much love put into this. So I hope you, if you ended up getting one of the Multifarious Nature Advents for 2024 or 2023, I hope you're gonna enjoy it, and you loved every color as much as I do. So that is my hope for you. All right, and now we'll get into the Multifarious Nature Advent sock set that I have been working with. So I'm only so far working with the first sock set, and I forgot to show you guys, I don't think I did in the last video, the Progress Keeper that came with the Advent. So I made a Progress Keeper as a special little goodie, and that was, I think, for day one. I mean, it was on a little card that came in your box. So if for some reason your card got buried under things, I hope you found it. It is, they all look a little different because they are a natural culture pearl, and it's like a deep burgundy pearl. It's really beautiful, and because they are naturally cultured, they're all gonna look a little different, and it's just really unique. And then of course you got some fun glass beads around it as well, and that is a Progress Keeper, or you could use it as a stitch marker. Lots of possibilities. I use a Progress Keeper. This is where I was last week, and as you can see, I finished it. I finished my sock. I'm so excited. So sock number 1 is completed. So compared to many socks, so I should start with what it is. This is the Ridgeline boot sock, and the designer is, I should have written down the designer. I do this all the time. Fawn Bustler. She's out of Michigan here, so a local to me, a designer, and that is what I use. So as you can see, there's this beautiful color work section at the top, and then again, this is the week 1 Advent sock set for Multifarious Nature, and yeah, I absolutely love it. Yes, and I should say it's Holiday Cheer is the colorway. And then we have this wonderful ribbing on the heel, so it gives a nice hug to the heel. I will say this part of the sock is a little on the looser end. However, if I was to wear like leggings like she's wearing in the photo, the designer, this then could fit over that. So, I mean, I haven't worn it with my boots, so I have absolutely no idea how I'm going to enjoy it or not. I went with the largest size. I did size, the size 3. There's 3 sizes, and yeah, I think the size 3 is good for me. However, I am debating on doing the size 2. We'll see. I'm going to give this one a try first and see how it works, because I did find that this portion here, there's this really nice ribbing here to hug your foot in the middle. When you look at her in the photo, she has quite a bit of stockinette here, and it's like the ribbing is really far up my foot. And again, she said you can make this as long as you would like according to your foot, and I don't know if it's just me failing at like knowing where to put it. I just went according to the measurements that she said to knit, and I went with that because I thought, well, maybe that would be what I needed, but I'm just not sure. This, I might have done too much ribbing. Like maybe I should have done less ribbing. I don't know. We'll see. Again, I'm going to do the exact same thing with my second sock, so they're a duplicate, and then I'll test it out. I could do it 2 different ways. I'm also going to be doing, these are, I've never done this before. So most of my socks that I make are always the same, like for each foot. So you could put it on either foot. It's completely the same sock. This is my first time I'm going to be doing like mirror imaged socks. So like this will be for my right foot, and then I'll have one for my left foot. I'm hoping that is pretty obvious. I have no idea if it will be or not, and that might be kind of interesting, because if it's not real obvious, then I might end up flopping them. But I'm hoping that something about the sock is going to make it obvious. By looking at it, as with the untrained eye of not doing socks that are mirror image, it looks like any other sock I've made. So we'll see. Obviously, other than all these wonderful ribbing techniques and everything, and then the color work, there's also some fun color work here on the toe area. So I've really enjoyed working on this. Obviously, it took me a couple weeks to make, but I feel like the fact that I was able to complete it relatively quickly, and at least to me it seems relatively quickly, really is, I mean, a testament not only to the sock itself. It was very fun to knit because there's all these wonderful techniques, but knitting with my colorway here with this speckling is so much fun. If you're trying to get into sock knitting and you're just not sure if it'll be able to hold your attention, you're just not sure if you want to do that, I highly recommend going with a variegated, especially a speckled yarn, when you're doing socks, because it really keeps you going. It motivates you. Whenever you knit a speckle, it's a new color, and it just fascinates you. It keeps you engaged. So that is my little tip if you're trying to knit your first pair of socks and you're just having the heck of a time trying to get socks done because you get bored or what have you. Maybe try a variegated, especially a speckled colorway. I absolutely love it. So first sock done. I am now casting, I have cast on the second sock, and I just did. So as you can see, I am not very far. I have about this much of the cuff done. So this cuff is a folded over cuff, which I've not ever done on socks as well. It's another new technique. And this is my second sock. So I've just started knitting it. I have a little bit further to go, probably this much further to go before I'm going to be folding it over and then continuing into the color work section, which I really enjoy it, you guys. This is a fun pattern. If you're looking for a engaging sock pattern, I definitely recommend the Ridgeline boot socks. Okay, so that is the week 1 of Multifarious Nature Advent, and now we will get into my gift advent that I got this year for my husband. And I am working with Woolberry's Wool Box. So it's not technically a advent, but it's her winter box for 2023. My first time doing it. It did come with a book. I will be honest, I've stopped reading the book. I mean, I'm going to read it, but very casually. I realized it kind of was putting too much pressure on me to read that. The other day, we have a lot going on, like most people this time of year. And as I said, for mental health and everything, I tried to do a little bit of a bunch of things the other day, and I realized it was way too much. So the book has gone on the side. I have a bunch of other reading and things I need to do for other things. So I am just going to read that as I will. And I have the pages notated that the colors are inspired by, that the colors are inspired by the scenes that they're inspired by, so that I'll be able to know when I look back. So I'm just going to keep working on the colors, and I opened a color each Sunday. So I did wait. I didn't open them all at once, but I did open them each Sunday leading up to Christmas. So this colorway, I will show you all the colorways. So if you do have the Woolberry box and you are waiting until you finish reading and you are just taking your time reading, don't watch this portion because, again, I don't want to ruin the surprise for you. But this is where I'm at with the, it is the Foundation Fade, the Raglan, let's see here, the Resource Raglan, the pattern that is a specific pattern from the Resource Raglan, and it's called the Foundation Fade sweater. this is where I'm at so far. I am using the winter box, and this is day 1 and 2, or week 1 and 2 are the first 2 colorways. They're not really by week, but I'm doing it by week. And then I'll show you the last 2 weeks because this is the 4th week of Advent. So here we go. So this first one is this gray, and I did say it is a gray, but it does have a little bit of a purpley gray to it. And then when I show you the other colorways, you'll see how they all kind of really interact well together. And I really love what she did with this, the Woolberry, and I'm blanking on her name. Oh my goodness, Brittany? Is it Brittany? I don't know. I feel bad. I should have written it down. But she does a beautiful job with her dyeing. And this is my first time working with her yarn. It's an 80-20 base, which is buttery, soft, wonderful. I feel like it will probably pill more because of the 80% super wash merino, but so be it. I think it's going to be beautiful. So this is the first colorway. I am now fading to the second colorway. And you can see that second colorway now. I'm just starting to fade into it. These are the cute little stoppers that came with the winter box as well. So cute. And yeah, really, really pretty. So this is a raglan, like I said, and it's a lot of fun. When it comes to Advent knitting, I feel like this pattern is a little bit more, like I have to pay attention a bit more than I would like. I have to constantly mark on my paper where I'm at. So it's not the biggest deal in the world, but I do feel like it's taking a bit more brain space than I would prefer to do this time of year. But I did say I wanted to do it. I am excited to work on it, and I am enjoying working on it, but it obviously takes a little more focus. When I'm also using, these are my knit picks. I think they're called Foursquare. They're the square knitting needles, which I really enjoy them. They're wooden, and they are just really nice as a change, especially since I'm working with those teeny needles for the sock. It's a really nice change for my hands. If you're looking into that, I do recommend it. So this is the second colorway. So here's the first one. As you can see, I knit up a bunch of it. It's that gray, and it's kind of a purple cool gray. And then here's the second colorway, which I think is called like the Garden Hedge. Really beautiful. Okay, and then the next colorway that I'll be fading into, which may be a bit. I am not rushing through this by any means, you guys. I have not been knitting as much as I prefer, so I actually am hoping to get a lot more knitting in here. I'm really excited. So I took off a bunch of time from work, and yeah, I think I'll get into that in my life update end of things at the end, but I'm hoping to get a lot more knitting. I'm making a note, so hopefully I'll remember to tell you guys. Okay. All right, this is the next color. It's called Ginny's Bracelet, which I look forward to finding out about Ginny's Bracelet, but here you go. So this, as you can see, it is purple. It's a purple, but it's a gray purple. So I love that she did that. She made a nice transition from gray, but a cool gray that has kind of a purpley tone to it. And now we're moving into a grayish purple. Definitely a purple, but it has kind of that, it just reminds me of a grayish purple. So that'll be a really beautiful transition from this green to this purple. And then the last colorway that we'll be transitioning from this beautiful purple is we got there in the end, which I feel like that's probably going to be a really nice ending. And this is a beautiful color, and I'm glad that she did this because I feel like when you do sweaters top down, especially if it's fading, you really need a good grounding color at the bottom, and this is a beautiful dark color. It is stunning. Absolutely stunning. This is like the best green, and there's some speckling in it. It's beautiful. It is absolutely beautiful. Well done, my friend. She did a beautiful job. So this is gonna go from this grayish purple to this beautiful dark color is dark green. Absolutely stunning. So I'm really looking forward to working with those. But as I said, I'm enjoying just biting through this slowly. And you can see she just does such a nice job transitioning from color to color. So here, this gives you an idea. Speckled colorways are excellent for transitioning if you're going to be doing any, let's see here, fading. That's the word I'm looking for, fading. So if you have colorways that have speckling and you pick up some of the speckling in the next colorway that also maybe has speckling, it really transitions nicely and gives you a really kind of not seamless fade, but from, you know, a galloping horse, it looks really, really good. So I love what she did with this. This is beautiful. And I'm really excited because while some of these colors are a little different than what I normally would knit with for myself, I actually feel like this whole advent is something that I would wear, and I'm really excited about that because sometimes advents can be fun to work with, but not necessarily something you would wear. So I think she did a beautiful job, and I do look forward to working on this and finishing it, and I will continue to update you guys in the coming videos with my progress. So that is the Woolberry advent or winter box that I'm working from. Okay, next is Wildflower Path. Pattern is by Melody Hoffman, and I'm working on it with Nutiden and Old Mill yarn. I worked on this just a little bit. I really feel like I worked on it just one weekend. Might have been last weekend. Or not the weekend. It was during the week. I really only worked on it just a tad. So I think I have like, there we go, guys. I've got an inch into it, which that's actually not bad, but this is like a worsted weight. This is like a heavy weight. This Nutiden held double, and then 2 strands of the Old Mill yarn. So this will knit up quickly when I actually commit to it, but I'm just enjoying working with all these different patterns, and I'm definitely focusing on my advent knitting. So this one is not priority number 1, but I really am enjoying working with it. If you've been with me for a bit, you'll know that unspun yarn has a very special place in my heart. If I could dye it, I probably would, because I think I enjoy knitting with that the most. But I don't know if I want to delve down that rabbit hole of learning how to dye that, but maybe someday, you know, maybe I will venture into the unspun nature of things. But at the moment, I am just enjoying working with many others that have done that, and it's stunning. So as I said, I'm working with that Old Mill yarn, which I don't know where it went. I had it, and I think I just flung it somewhere. Hilarious. Well, I'm not quite sure where my little ball of yarn went. Is that the most ridiculous thing ever, you guys? I tell you what, that is crazy. I flung it somewhere. It was in here and it just went poof. Okay, crazy. But you can see, and if I put this up close here, you can see that dark brown in there. That's actually it's like a, I think they call it like whisper. It's not lace weight. It's lighter than that. So it is just like super, super lightweight yarn. I mean, it breaks very easily. So I'm holding that double with it, and I feel like all that together, one, adds great structure and strength to this, but it also adds this really neat depth to the stitch definition. So it has, I mean, you can see it. There's this really neat depth going on that you just would not get with the Nutiden alone. So the Nutiden is beautiful, and it does have a nice tonality to it. It's kind of a grayish brown. It's really beautiful. But there's that brown in there from that Old Mill yarn that just really pulls out the brown from the Nutiden. And I just love how that is turning out. I do look forward to wearing it. It's going to be a stunning oatmeal kind of colored, warmer sweater. I love my browns. The other one I have of this exact sweater, but I used Plutalope. I did like, I think it's a very light gray. It definitely lends itself towards white. It looks more white, but I think it's a light gray. And it is the Wildflower Path, and I wear that all the time. It is one of my most comfortable sweaters. It's super warm. It has this really wide top, but I wear shirts under it. So I usually wear a short sleeve shirt under it, or I might wear a flannel that has, your little folded collar. So not because it makes me itch, it doesn't make me itch, but it just adds to that warmth. And so my neck is never cold, but I don't ever wear this without something under it. So if you're someone who doesn't like to layer things, then maybe this might be too wide, but I really enjoy it. So there is my Wildflower Path, my second one that I've made, or I'm working on. And then we'll get into the last work in progress that I've been working on. And this is very little progress, technically speaking, but actually a lot. So the pattern is called the Incredible Blanket by Purl Soho. It is a new pattern, but there is a bunch of stitches on this because it's a blanket. So while this doesn't look like a lot of progress, because at first glance it really is like, okay, well, it's about an inch of knitting, but it's, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 colorways. So I made some serious progress on this, but it just doesn't look like a lot. There's well over, I think this is still a free pattern. There's a lot of patterns on Purl Soho that are free. I think it's still free. They released this pattern with, actually, I just started knitting with a new color, so there's 6 colors now. But it was released with their, I think it's called the Paint Box. It's their Linen and Quills 40 colors set of minis. It was released with that and in mind, but I think this would be beautiful with advents. The key is you have to make sure you have enough yarn. So it does take a lot of yarn. So your advent might not be enough. You may have to use multiple advents to be able to make one. But I am working with Manos Uruguay yarn. It's beautiful. I really love what their company does. They support women in villages and help support them make a living. So I really do appreciate that. As I mentioned in a prior video, this is my healing blanket. That's what I'm calling it. And so I'm going through a lot these days, and by working on this, it's just really helped. So yeah, that's what I'm doing with this. And it's been so much fun to work on. Very relaxing. It really is very relaxing. I do have to follow the pattern. I do have to look at it. But once I get past a portion of this much stitches, I can just keep going and not look. And then when I get to the end, I do look just to make sure I'm doing it properly. It's a repeat of 4 different rows. It's not hard. I think eventually I might be able to memorize it, but at the moment I'm not, because I'm not working on it that much. But there's well over 300 stitches on here. So as I said, doing 1 row back and forth it's a lot of stitches. So, but it's fun. It's a lot of fun. I really enjoy the Manos Uruguay. It is primarily it's all twisted, merino. So it's primarily a merino base, and there's also, so the 2 bases, I wrote them down. So it's Fino and Marina. So Fino is their merino silk base, which is stunning. That's what most of the colorways are, and it's a fingering weight. And then I have Fino, which is actually a lace weight, so I held it double. And it's a really pretty cool gray, and it adds even more unique depth to the color by holding it double. So this is kind of like a half fisherman's rib style. It's not really half fisherman's rib, but it kind of is. It's a little confusing to say that. This will not be torture, so obviously every other row you change colors. So you do two rows of a color and then you change color. And then you cut your color while you're doing that. And don't worry, it won't make you crazy because you weave in your ends as you're going. So I just need to trim these ends, but I wove them in as I was going. There's a technique they tell you about how to do it. It's not hard at all. It's a lot like the Weave and Steven method, if you're familiar with Steven West. The way he does it is very similar to that, but there's, because this is a, like knit and stitch below, because like fisherman's rib or half fisherman's rib, you're going to be like wrapping your yarn as you're going. So very easy, not overly complicated. Yeah, so far I would recommend this pattern. It's, if you're looking for something relaxing and something you could do where you could just go sit in a corner somewhere and work and keep it over there, that's what I'm doing, and I'm really enjoying it. These colors are completely random, so what I did is I put them in bags. I have warm colors in one bag, cool colors in the other bag, and then I'm reaching into the one, like my cool color, I'll grab a color, work with it, and then I leave it outside of the bag. So that way I go through all the colors in each bag before I throw them all back in the bag and then grab another color. So that it will be a completely random coloring. You'll never have two of your same color next to each other, but you may have repeats of cool and warm colors next to each other, but it will be very random, and I love that. It's fun. So it adds another uniqueness to it, and it's not going to be like a typical striped blanket. It's going to be fun and interesting to look at. So I am enjoying it, very much enjoying it. So now we will get into like other information, life update, and things. Talk about the holidays a little bit. So this is the 4th week of Advent. This would be Christmas Eve that you'd be watching this. That's when I'm going to be releasing the video. So Merry Christmas to you all. Happy Christmas Eve. If many families tend to celebrate on Christmas Eve, some celebrate Christmas Day, depending on what you're doing. We tend to open like our, so all of us kids tend to exchange gifts each year. We do like a Secret Santa, and it was a tradition we started as children that we would exchange gifts on Christmas Eve, and we would be able to open that gift. We couldn't open any of our other gifts that Santa would bring, but we could open our gifts to each other. And I think it primarily started because as children, we made our gifts for each other. Everything was handmade, and just really special. And we kind of just wanted to exchange those. I think Christmas Eve, I don't know if I started that tradition. I might have. I've always been a maker, so I always like to make things, and some of those things might have been absolutely crazy. But I always did like to make things. So I think I may have started it. I don't know. My family members can correct me in the comments below if they watch this. I don't know if they're watching or not, but if they do, correct me. But yeah, so that's one of our traditions that we do that. One other thing that we did, which I think it's a German tradition. I think I'm not 100%, but I think it is the Christmas pickle in the tree. So it's a little pickle ornament, and I actually made one, and it is really funny looking. I made one. I think my mom still has it. I don't know if she does, but I think she does. And it's really comical. It's made out of felt, I think, and I started to try to decorate it, and yeah, it's a Christmas pickle. And what we did is we would hide it in the tree. I think one of my parents would hide it in the tree, and then whichever one of us kids found it first would be the first to open a gift in the morning. So that's how we kind of dealt with opening presents in the morning, because it's like, who gets to open first? Well, that helped us do that. I don't know if that who gets to open gifts first is actually a German tradition, but there you go. My heritage is a mix of a whole bunch German and primarily, so my mother's adopted, so we did discover that primarily she is French Canadian, so French, and the French Canadian background is my primary, like the majority of my background is that. But then we also have we actually have a lot. My dad did a lot of research through Ancestry, so apparently we have quite the background. But on my dad's side, we're more we have German. I think we've got a little bit of English, so that's, and then I think on my mom's side she has a little bit of Scottish, which is probably where my paleness comes from. And then and any redness in my hair. And then I think we have a delivery, so if you heard the chime, there you go. It's that time of year, you guys. We get deliveries. Try to think of what else. Let's see. Yeah, red hair. I don't know what else, but yeah, my mom said I think she has Basque in her background, being French. Like her ancestors did come from France to Quebec Air region in Italy, Canada. Oh my word, in Canada. And so yeah, definitely French background. So yeah, it's just I'm a mix, a very mixed background. So there you have it. So we have all kinds of traditions. We don't have a lot of French traditions because my mom was adopted, so we don't really do a lot of French traditions, but I would love to learn some and incorporate those into my my holidays and everything, because that would be neat just for heritage reasons. There you have it. So if you have French in your background and you do celebrate certain French traditions, I would absolutely love to hear in the comments below what some of those traditions may be, because that's mean a lot to me to be able to celebrate those things. So there you go. Speaking of like traditions and such, this year, like I said, Advent, I am participating in the She Reads Truth, He Alone is Worthy 2023 Advent book. So I've been reading this, and I think it was last week. Yeah, pretty sure it was last week or the week before. I think it was the week before. I had an extremely hard time reading this. I was feeling almost attacked. It was absolutely brutal to read this, which is strange. It shouldn't feel that way. It really shouldn't. I am very happy to report that I do not feel this way now. So I have now read further. I did push through. I did continue reading it, and I'm really glad I did. So there are some wonderful things that I got out of the past couple weeks, and some of it was actually celebratory, traditional type things. So there are hymns in here that they actually, or songs, hymns, songs, like Ding Dong Merrily on High, that is a song. So that was in here, and it has the lyrics, and you just sing along. You don't have music playing. You could have music playing. I just sang it by myself. And then there's also recipes. So I have not made all the recipes, but I did do one of them. And I made gingerbread cookies, which I haven't made in a long time. I think I made them with my mom when I was younger, but I haven't made them in a long time. And I have to say, making those was amazing. So, yeah, that was really, really special. So I do like to bake, I do like to cook and things like that, but during the holidays, that's something that, we do a lot of. My mom makes cookies all the time during the holidays. I know her neighbors look forward to them, and she did report that she had to make sure she got them done because she wanted to make sure she got them to her neighbors, which is really special. She bakes a lot during the holidays. So I only made the gingerbread cookies, which was a lot. Like, that was a lot of work. I didn't realize, I didn't remember how much work gingerbread cookies are, and I can see why we didn't make them that often, because it was a lot. I'm gonna think they're a lot like sugar cookies that you actually cut out when you have to roll it out. So if you're not familiar with making gingerbread cookies, the way that at least I followed this recipe and the way it told me how to make them. So you have to make the dough, and then you have to roll it out, and then you refrigerate it, and then you cut them out and bake them. And then if they start to get soft at all, you're supposed to put them back in the fridge again. So if you, obviously when you first cut out your pieces, there's going to be a bunch of scraps. Well, you got to put them back together, roll it out again, and it's so soft you have to put it back in the fridge for another, they say 2 hours. I only did it for like 15 minutes, and it got cool really quickly, so it was fine. Not a big deal at all, but it was a lot of work. It took a couple hours to do this, and yeah, that was an all-day like process, because I started the dough in the morning, and then I didn't work with it until the evening, but it was a lot of fun. And then the icing was really good. It was a chai. I can't give you the recipe because this is a paid-for book, but if you can look it up, maybe you can find a recipe like this. But it's a chai icing, so you use chai tea to infuse the icing. It's really good. It is so good. A chai vanilla icing. And the cookies are delicious, and it was a lot of fun to make it. And it felt like, I used to love to bake with my brother, and my brother, who unfortunately is no longer with us, but I used to love to bake with him, and he liked to bake things, bread especially, and in the process of making these cookies, I just felt like I was with him again, and it felt really, really good. Yeah, it was kind of an out of this world experience. I don't know how to explain it, but it was pretty amazing. So that actually was very helpful, going through and doing that. And I know I've listened to the podcast for the She Reads Truth. Each Monday of Advent, they have a podcast relating to the Advent book, and it's so true. I'm glad I've been sticking with it. So I still have, I believe it's another week of reading. So I have the rest of this week and then following week. So if you're not familiar, which some of this I actually was not familiar with, there is days after Christmas that you're still celebrating. So it's, Christmas obviously is something you celebrate. So Advent leading up to Christmas, there's Christmas tide, and then there's Epiphany, which is something I was not familiar with. Apparently it is the 12 days after Christmas. So I thought that was really interesting. I don't know why I didn't realize that, but Christmas tide is probably more what I'm familiar with, which is the 12 days after Christmas and Yuletide. So that was really interesting to read about that. And yeah, I'm really enjoying it. I'm really glad I did it. It has been a roller coaster of emotions for me, but I'm really glad that I committed to do this. So I definitely recommend it. I don't know what next year's will be like, but I definitely am considering doing this again, because this has been actually helpful for me. Hard, but helpful. All right. And then the other thing I wanted to get into that I've been doing, I don't know if it's tradition for some people, but I've been getting into sourdough baking. I just started, and it's so much fun. It's a lot of work, but if you get a schedule, it's pretty awesome. So I made sourdough biscuits that I'm gonna have for Christmas dinner. We're gonna be hosting Christmas, so I made sourdough biscuits, and then I also just made my very first loaf of sourdough bread. I'm really excited about it. I think it's going to be amazing. And the recipe that I used was, I used our bread, we have a bread maker. So I used, it's the Farmhouse on Boone. She has a recipe using a bread maker to make sourdough. I kind of altered it a little bit. It's a free recipe, but I made the bread like she suggested, doing 2 sets of the kneading in your bread machine, and then I just turned it into a loaf pan and then baked it in the oven at 425 for 45 minutes. So if you're like trying to follow that recipe, that's what I did. So far, it looks like it's gonna be really good. It has a nice crust on the outside, and yeah, it seems like it might be squishy and fluffy on the inside, which is perfect. That's what I'm hoping for. So I will report back as to how it turned out, but I'm really excited about it. So that was really fun. The other thing I am doing again this year, which I did last year, I will say that for a couple months I did not write in it, which I'm not happy that I didn't write in it. I think it might have been helpful for me, but I was going through a very difficult time, so sometimes that happens, and I did not write in it, but I am going to try again this year. So I purchased one of these. These are not cheap. I'm going to start by saying that. This is an investment. So it is a planner. I'm going to say it's a planner, journal. You make it what you will. It's basically your analog journaling, planning. It's 2024. It's the Hobonichi. I don't know if I'm saying this right, but Hobonichi Techno Cousin. It has a bunch of, so basically you have your month at a glance. Just gonna get blasted out. It's like month at a glance, weeks, or month at a glance, or let's see, year at a glance, months at a glance. Ooh, this is gonna be so blasted out. There you go. Months at a glance. And then there's weeks at a glance, which I really like the weeks at a glance. I use those a lot for like appointments and things like that. And then there's days at a glance. And this, the days at a glance, is where I do my journaling. So the way I'm doing it this year is going to be similar to last year, but my hope is that this will be even better because as I stated in other videos, we did suffer a loss in April of this year, and then after April, I really had a hard time writing in here. I just didn't do it, and I really wish I had, because I think that would have been helpful for me to get out that emotion and write it down. So I have found this to be helpful because prior to that, I was writing in it, and I could see dates that talked about certain things, and I think that was really important for me, especially from a therapy standpoint, like knowing how I was feeling and what I'm going through. So daily I try to you do you when it comes to this. That's the great part. You really can make it your own. So there's a section at the top here, and I put gratitude. So each day I'll write at least 3 things I'm grateful for, and then I do a journal entry here. And then there is a section of time. We could see that. There's a section with time next to here, and I'll put, if I have any appointments, I'll write them on that day as well, just because then it helps me when I'm going through to be like, hey, a reminder, you have an appointment. The other thing that I'm doing this year that I did a little bit last year, I picked up some of these really beautiful stickers just to kind of put in there on special days, like my birthday, holidays. I got these from my local store, Meyer, but they're beautiful. And I think it's called, you see some of them here. They're really beautiful. They're paper stickers. Violet Studio Designs. So you can look that up, see if you can find it anywhere else. But these are all the different stickers. Aren't those so beautiful? So they're very nature oriented, right up my alley. And then I also picked up this. It was a pack on Amazon. So it gives you your month and then the days of the month, and then there's like other things here on the side, like month goals, reschedule, busy day, things like that. They're just kind of random. I don't know if I'll be using these side ones very much, but I'll definitely be using these and the month ones. And then I've got more like day stickers, date stickers. And then there's for like appointments and such, there's fun stickers for that. And like all kinds of fun stuff. Got these little fun ones too, little clipboards. I loved the colors. They're soft pastel type colors, and I just think they'll be a fun way to make it personalized even more. It comes very basic, but like I said, these are not cheap. These are very expensive when you think of a planner. When most people think of planners, they're like, I don't know, $8 or $10 for a planner. This is quite a significant price compared to that, but I look at this as so much more than a planner. I use this for, you know, this is a mental health tool. This is an organization tool. This is so much more than a planner. So I have my this year's, and then I will have this for next year, and I put the year on there and everything. And I think this will be extremely helpful for me, maybe for someone else. So that's why I wanted to kind of talk about it in case you're looking for something like this. I did get benefits out of this this year, so I will be doing it again next year. So there's that. Yeah, and as I stated, I wrote it down. I'm glad to remind myself. Time off from work. So I did take off some time for work because of the holidays. We have certain days off next week, and so I took off a few extra days because I needed to use vacation time. Months ago, they wanted it in advance, so I thought out into the future, and I'm glad I did it. So I have all of next week off, which is great because I have an appointment I need to do and things like that, so that'll help. And then I took off today, which is Thursday, the 21st, and then I don't work on Fridays currently for my full-time job. I don't work on Fridays, so I'm gonna have basically like a week and a half of time off from work, which is why I'm not gonna be doing any dyeing on Fridays. I'm literally going to take that week and a half and take time off and try to relax and reflect before the new year and just have kindness, treat myself kindly. I think we need to do that. So if you're someone who's in the hustle and bustle of things and you like to get things done and you're trying to get things done and you're feeling overwhelmed, definitely give yourself time to relax and reflect. And I think it is important to do that, to relax and reflect at the end of the year and a new year comes. Goal making is good. I think goal making is a good thing. For me, my goal making is more self-care type things. So like I said, this journal, trying to do that daily. I don't get mad at myself if I skip a day, but I do try very hard to do each day. And usually it's a mind dump. So I do it throughout the day. I usually do it while I'm at work. I'll do my gratitude, and then I will write down maybe how I'm feeling that day. And it feels good because sometimes I can't always tell people exactly how I'm feeling. Not that I can't. I feel bad sometimes doing that. So for me, it's really helpful to put it on paper because then I'm getting it out there. So it's very good as a tool, a therapy tool. So if you're looking for something like that, if you're dealing with that, that might be helpful for you. I am not a therapist, but I'm just saying that has helped me, so maybe it would help you. I hope you guys are able to take some time for yourself and be with your families. And I hope you have a wonderful Christmas if you celebrate Christmas. If you celebrate any other holidays, I do hope you have a wonderful holiday season and a great new year, and safe travels if you're traveling. And if you're having others come to you, I hope you have a wonderful celebration. And I hope that if you're hosting, that you're able to take time to take it in, be present, and don't get overwhelmed by it. Nothing has to be perfect. It's all about spending time together and having a wonderful time and caring for each other. So I hope that you have a wonderful rest of your week, and I will try to do a podcast next week. Like I said, I have a week and a half off here, so I think I'll be able to do that. That's my goal. So my goal will be next Thursday, which I think that is the 28th. Yes, it's the 28th. So next Thursday, my goal will be to record, and I will be posting a podcast that Friday. So the 29th of December would be when I post it. That's my goal. I'm going to hopefully promise that to you guys, but again, it's a goal because during this holiday season, I'm trying to just enjoy, but I do really enjoy making these videos. As you can see, this video is quite long. Oh my word. My other ones aren't usually this long when it comes to the holidays videos for my Vlogmases, but This one had a lot, like I said at the beginning of the video, a lot going on. If you're still with me, I'm so glad you are, and I hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your week and holidays, and take care.